Ready when you are. All right, thank you very much. And we are back again, just having a little discussion and trying to determine how we might move forward on this item. Looking at it and understanding the needs of administration, it sounds like there's kind of two options that we might be able to pursue. There's a lot of options. I mean, we could get creative, but I see kind of two obvious ones in front of me. One is that we could move to accept the motion has been moved, so we could pass the motion and have this as a starting point, perhaps on May 8th instead of April 10th, identifying that we need that administration would need some extra time if we accepted all of these. The other way that I think we could approach this is that I think that some of these points will probably have discussion to follow. Not all of them, but some of them. And the other option is that instead of passing the motion, we just kind of refer the list for further discussion at May 8th and decide from there which ones in specific we'd like to move forward with, and then administration can give us further direction at that point on how much time they might need to analyze that information and come back to us with a report before we can make a final decision. But as it is, this is the motion in front of us.
So, may I?
Of course.
The motion in front of us does not ask administration to undertake any work. The motion in front of us simply asks that admin on that date in April will come forward with one version of the bylaw that has these amendments, and will also include the bylaw that we gave second reading to. And that's it. And then it's a committee of the whole meeting that we will discuss it. The motion does not ask for any work to be undertaken before the committee of the whole. So the motion is as it stands. It's just simply asking for this conversation to take place in April. I'm more than willing to kick it down until May, but no work is being asked for here. It's just going to be 2 copies, and then we can go through that motion. We can go through the amendments item by item at that time. For now, all I'm doing is just asking the rest of council to let's discuss this in April, and we can have a fulsome discussion then.
If I might just ask one question for clarity. So after this motion, your intention is that both versions of the document would still come forward at committee of the whole?
Yeah, the committee of the whole meeting is just to further discuss this. So we have given second reading to the bylaw as it stands. That would be present at the committee of the whole meeting, correct? Okay, and then it would simply have an extra copy that includes these amendments, and they'd probably be in a color purple for us so that we could go through and see them side by side and compare them that way in April. And if there was any items in there that council had further cost concerns about, then we could ask admin to come up with something for May.
Okay. Councillor Mitzner.
I'd like the opportunity to ask Donna if she could give us a broad spectrum of the cost to maintain it as it is now versus the cost to maintain it with all the recommendations that were previously distributed to us at the next meeting, if that's okay.
Yeah, well, that would be May, like that's the reality, right? So just
But that request would require an amendment to my motion. My motion does not ask for any work to be done. That
okay,
would
but
be a
you can make that,
vote.
Councillor Wiley. That somebody can make that a motion. That motion, yeah, or that amendment.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
Debbie, if she chose to, could make an amendment to my motion tonight. But I'm just saying my motion does not say that.
Yes. And what I said earlier was the discussion between council members tonight should be what scope of work do you want, and that will drive when it comes forward for discussion.
Sure, but my motion has no reference to scope of work. It's just something that we can discuss.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into debate. That's between the council members. Councillor Mitzner made a statement or a question, and I answered it.
Thank you, C.A. What's confusing me is I'm not entirely sure what I am voting on. Because,
Yeah, so you're agreeing to nothing in here. All you're agreeing, if you just look at the very last point, is that this motion, that this will be brought forward in the April council meeting, just printed copy. It'll just be in our agenda package, that there'll be the bylaw that we've given second reading to, and then then this version that has my amendments to it. That's it. We're not agreeing to anything in here. We're just agreeing to talk about it in April.
okay.
Your worship.
Yes, Councillor Montgomery, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry to butt in.
No, I'm glad you did, thank you.
For once. So that's kind of a dig at myself, but so I'm kind of very cognizant of the value of administration's time, and I think that as Councillor Wiley has kind of mentioned, that this isn't intended. If I take it as kind of intent, the way he intends it. I think that this is not intended to use up a lot of administration's time on the front side, and it seems that this is an opportunity to, I guess, show or extend trust, I guess, to each other. This is one of these cases where one of us has the desire to discuss this further, or to kind of have what they consider kind of look at kind of some things that are critical to them, and I think it just kind of shows goodwill to at least be able to as Councillor Wiley says, like we're not really binding ourselves to anything aside from just kind of discussing this down the road essentially, and I think it would probably it'd be beneficial to the council, and the council dynamic to kind of extend some latitude to each other when one of us feels that there are things that should be discussed, I guess, about a particular item. And while I don't necessarily agree with some of what Councillor Wiley is suggesting, I'm certainly happy to, I guess, discuss his ideas further, and to hear other members of council as well and their perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. Councillor Wagner.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for discussing this later, but as Councillor Mitzner said, the cost, at some point, we're going to be asking about the cost. So I guess I would like to make an amendment to Councillor Wiley's amendment, and that I move that that administration direct operations to give us a cost comparison on the amended bylaw as compared to the bylaw that we gave second reading to. Proposed amendment that we gave second reading to. And I guess I'd like to talk, again, I just think we talk about being fiscally responsible in that. This is going to cause some time on council or on administration's part, but what if there is some huge cost effects? So that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Councillor Wagner.
Do you want to make part of that amendment extending the date to May, or you mean they should have this done by April?
No, for me.
Because as it stands, the motion says April.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I would also amend my motion to state that we reevaluated at the May Committee of the Whole meeting. Is that fine? May 8th?
Yeah, May 8th.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to kind of repeat back what I heard to make sure I understand where we're going forward on this. Your amendment, in plain language terms, is to direct administration to come back with a cost estimate that would be associated with the changes that were described in Councillor Wiley's motion, and to change the date of discussion from April 10th to May 8th. Is that correct? That's correct. All right. Discussion, comments, questions on the amendment, Councillor Wiley?
Okay, so my question is for administration, but we're dealing with now way back in November. I believe it was Councillor Peterson made the original motion that administration would bring back the bylaw, I want to say before May. I said May 23rd, but I think is that the date? So at that point, would we also need to rescind? I'm just talking like an administration process-wise. Does that give enough time then for this to go before a regular council meeting then on May 23rd?
Can we just have a quick recess to dig up the motion?
You bet. Motion to recess for, or I can't make motions. Can someone make a motion?
Motion to recess at 10:18.
Thank you very much. All in favor? The motion is passed.